always thought if you did it the way they did it in novels, it would be even more cinematic.
Sorry! Come here!
It would be exciting, and if you pulled it off, it would be fun.
Say it!
The cross-cutting would be neat.
I started shooting, so I blasted my way out of there.
And it's not just one thing. To do movies the way novels tell stories, when they move around like that, that would be inherently cinematic.
Yeah.
And to just put it all in chronological order was inherently not cinematic. It was drab.
Do you remember a time when you figured that out, where you read a novel in particular and said, how come the movies aren't like this, and I'm going to do this?
It's not one novel that got me thinking that way. It was more just every time I read a novel like that, I thought I figured out how to do it.
Right.
And I knew that that's not what Paramount would do if it had the opportunity. Especially if you're talking about coming off of the 80s, which I think was a very oppressive time for cinema. The studio system was, one of the more repressive times to come out since the 50s. I mean, things were just very standard. Things had gotten very, very homogenous. There wasn't a whole lot of creativity going on as far as like doing new things. People like Paul Verhoeven or David Lynch were really put in boxes as being weird. Everyone had to be likable. There was like never dark shades of things. Like, you read crime novels and characters could do so much and be so twisted, and that they ever talked in the 80s about doing those movies, they always had a wimp out ending. They'd say, oh, you can't do a movie about that. It's just the characters are too unlikable, or it's too immortally ambiguous. That just was the death in the 80s. So I'm kind of coming off of that. And then I did finally have one thing that I thought proved that I was right, is Fred Shalepsy did an adaptation of one of the John le Carre novels, The Russia House, with Sean Connery and Michelle Pfeiffer. And I never read the book, but you could tell he kept the structure of the book, which was really moving back and forth, and the story actually doesn't catch up with itself until about midway through.
Right.
And then from that point on, everything is everything.
Yeah.
But before that, it's really kind of hopping around back and forth, and it was exciting. It was really, really fun.
Okay, I have a fun question for y'all. What is a book that you really love that you think would be so cool to see it adapted on the big screen? But if it was done right, if they respected the essence of the novel, and who would you like to see directed? I just think it would be fun to read y'all's answers, but I could also use some good book recommendations right now. Also, just a quick reminder, like Tarantino talks about in this clip, how he was sick and tired of how cinema was in the 80s, which is really what pushed him to get into the business himself. If you feel the same way about cinema right now, you gotta check out Kino Lime, because they are a studio that's going to let you pick the movies they make. If you check out their website, all the information is there. It's really cool what they're doing.